As fast as time seems to go by, it is still a long road. And what I believe will set you apart from other people is your ability to work uh, long hours on something where the results aren't instant. If you can manage to keep up with your ambition, with your momentum, the motivation, all these, if you can manage to stay active when all signs, where it isn't necessarily a clear path to where you want to go, and the signs aren't evident as to when the success will come and how it will look, then I think ultimately you will win out. What gets in the way of a lot of us, myself included, I've experienced it, but it's dying down. It's just the doubt. It's just the doubt, and this is why I have to check in with myself a lot as far as mirror gazing goes, as far as journaling goes, to really keep putting things into perspective and make sure that like I'm not getting, over my head with this. Like I'm not being delusional. All right, so I have to constantly remind myself that you know, if it's possible for somebody else, it's possible for myself. That doesn't mean that it's easy. That doesn't mean that I'm entitled to it, but it's possible. So one of the next steps that I would do is, first of all, of course, I would try to resolve how to get to that point, but I want to study the people who have gotten there. And one thing that I realize is that the people who get to places that most people don't end up, I mean, they just do the things that most people don't do. You know what I'm saying? Most people wouldn't sign up to read the books that Bill Gates reads, for example. Most people wouldn't sign up to work the amount of hours that Elon Musk works. Like 40 hours is enough to kick most of our asses. I know. I'm with you on that one. I love to sleep, and it seems like it doesn't take much for me to get whooped. But if there's a lot to do, if there's a lot to do, then there's a lot to do because working 70 hours or 100 hours a week seems to be a lot. But just the same, that time goes by pretty fast, and it's like, well, what do we have to show for it? And like even more so, and I know this may be unfair to say, but even more so when you're working for somebody you don't want to work for, then you especially have to take the extra time that you do have to work on yourself, to work on your career and things. I know it's like it's really hard to fathom, but it's damn near necessary if you don't want to have to work for somebody for the rest of your life. It's a true harsh reality, and I've had to try to balance that many times. But especially because when I was working in construction, that takes a lot out of you. It really gets a great deal of your time, a great deal of your energy, your willpower, all of that, man. So uh, obviously you'd be dog tired after a day like that, especially when it's hot, you're sweating, the stress levels are high. Focus is of utmost importance, and then you call yourself trying to work on your own thing, and then you got to get sleep, and then you have all these other obligations, and that's why planning is important. So we might not be able to get it all today. Let's say after working for somebody else, so we just write down what's the most important thing that we could work on as far as our own personal career goals, our own personal ambitions, and we resolve to do that. Hopefully, you can get a nap in after work. You do that, and then you hop right to it. And then for my people who don't necessarily work for anybody, perhaps you work a lot of freelance, um, your independent contractor, whatever it may be. This message probably works even more so for you, and it may not seem fair at times that you may have to work longer. You know what? Let's not even talk about how fair it is because you can very easily fill out a job application. Let's not talk about fair, but it may seem like a huge uphill battle to work longer hours than other people and get paid less. But you got to think about the upside, you know. So you may have a lower floor than people who have a 9 to 5, but a higher ceiling. So you got to ask yourself, what's more important to you? The freedom of making your own hours and potentially making more money than the people who work 9 to 5, or having that stability and not having to work as many hours. That's not to say people. I mean, obviously, people with 9 to 5s, you know, they could work 60 hours, 70 hours too. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a matter of perspective. But the reason for this video is to encourage people that to not only, you know, keep your head down and keep pushing, keep trucking. Obviously, that's always the underlining message in videos like this, but you will be rewarded in one way or the other. I mean, leave your expectations out of it, but you will be rewarded for signing up. This is highly important, to spearhead everything that you sign up for. All right. So I understand a lot of things we sign up for. We drag our feet. We're like, oh God, another day, another this, another that. If you sign up for it, spearhead it. All right. Because the things that may seem to be daunting and draining to you becomes less of that the stronger you get, the more you tackle it on. So it's like that 6:30 alarm clock doesn't hit so hard when you train yourself to wake up at 5:30. Let's say you got to leave out the house by 7:30 or whatever. You up at 5:30, you getting it in. You're focusing on the things you want to focus on. You are putting together you are working your morning routine the way that you see fit. You set the tempo, you set the pace. You build momentum like that. You build up your confidence. Get ready for the day. I just put out a video on building the perfect morning routine and the importance of that. But to wrap this all up, anything you sign up for, all right, in conclusion, anything you sign up for, tackle it. Just go after it. Just keep attacking it. Keep attacking. Don't keep score. Don't look too far ahead. Don't look too far in the back. Just keep tackling it. Leave the excuses behind. Leave the complaining behind. And I believe over time, if you keep applying yourself, you keep studying, you keep reading, you keep looking to grow, keep analyzing all these things, and you play your chess, and you start your day off right, like a warrior, you will be leaps and bounds ahead of most people. Most people aren't willing to do that, okay? A lot of people have to drag themselves out of bed because, and I understand, it's most people, I mean, it keeps coming back to this. Most people are unhappy with what they do for a living, so at least 8 hours out of the day for 5 days out of the week, at least they are unhappy. So, it's a sad realization, but beneficial to somebody like you who will understand these things, understand that you may have to do something you don't want to do, but tackling it makes it that much better. It makes it more tolerable. You know what I'm saying? You may even find a way to love it all, especially if you are want to put things in a perspective and, every day you leave out, you get in the car after leaving your warm home, your warm apartment, and then you see people begging for money and it's cold outside. That really gets to me. That's why I talk about it a lot, people out there begging for money can't always account for the elements, and it's very, very humbling. You see it in somebody's face, and they try to keep a smile, and the weather starts to change, and it was sunny. It was a little sunny at first. They kept the heat going, but then it started to get a little bit cold, and then it started raining. And, I'm actually speaking from something I just saw a couple of days ago, and the lady couldn't account for the weather, and it's just, it's really unfortunate. But those are a lot of. I mentioned that, it kind of seems like I'm getting off subject, but I mentioned that to fuel you on your journey. So no matter how rough your journey is, always make time to pay attention to the suffering of others. Now, I'm not one to, get excited to see somebody else down, but it and I keep coming back to this P word. Just it's just the perspective of it all. It's just understanding that you may have more opportunities than this particular person. This particular person may be doing this for the rest of their lives. This, what you're doing, could be, temporary. And I understand all things are temporary because this life is, but just temporary within a temporary confine is that you may have to eat shit for a little while, but it's so you can have the feast that you want. All right. So you take a L up front, so to speak, so you can get them W's for the rest of your life. So it's all. That's why I believe it's always good to put things in perspective, and that's one of the things that really keeps me pushing on this long road. And it is lonely. It is a lonely life for me. I signed up for this. I signed up for a life of loneliness. Even though I think I would be lonely, going with the conventional route too, without really feeling much of an upside. And when you hear the conversations, a lot of people feel trapped. No, like, they have these, they call them dead end jobs, but every job feels dead end for real when your heart's not in it, and all you have to really look forward to next as far as the job goes is maybe a $2 raise next year, or what have you, 50 cents, or a week of vacation that goes by faster than a goddamn work day, it would seem. So you may be in a position where you may envy somebody who's dealing with that. I found myself kind of envious of not having that stability, but I like the upside. The upside is what I'm after. Is the reason why I've chose this lifestyle, and this really forces me to be resourceful. It really forces me to rely on myself, to to not be wasteful. As much as I would like to relax and just sleep and be gluttonous sometimes, just want my form of gluttony is just eating a lot. As much as I would like to do all these things, it's time for the grind. It's time for the grind, and we do this. We work like peasants. We work like slaves so we can eat like kings. But obviously, that's not enough. It's not just that. You have to use this. You definitely have to work smarter. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be smart at working harder, or work hard at working smarter. Go hard at working smarter. Something like that. I think I wrote about that in my last book, which is called "Don't Say I Never Gave You Anything." But that's it, my folks. I want to wish you the best, because I know that it's a long, winding road. A lot of people who watch this video, you're about as young as me, so this may not be anything that you're thinking about necessarily. A lot of the older folks understand this, or maybe a lot of older folks probably didn't get around to embodying this, and they're so settled in with their lifestyles. But even still, I think that this message will find you in the right place. I think that this message will apply to you if you choose to take a different route right now. But it's all about planning and prioritizing and making sure that you find ways to recoup, to reboot, all these things. And throughout my channel, I laid out a lot of ways that you can get yourself in the right mindset of someone who's going to embark on a journey of uncharted territory, or we can say the road less traveled, because I feel like that's basically what this channel is dedicated towards. I wanted to build this community and fill it up with a bunch of people who want to take on a lifestyle that's a bit foreign to what's the norm, man. But what's the norm isn't working for us. Let's face it, it's not working for us. All right. Most of us, if we could pick another job, we would. All right. And that's just facts. But we found a way to make these settlements and not just cap our upside, but just found a way to enslave ourselves, mentally. Not wanting to look beyond what we see and as a result, not wanting others to do that as well, or being the first to kind of clip other people's wings, especially the children. We tell these children to get realistic, but realistically speaking, we need an imagination. We need something that's deemed to be insanity to see beyond the confines, man, and that's true freedom. And I think so long as you hold on to that, you'll always be free. All right, so stay positive. I'm actually about to make a video on optimism. I forgot about that. I forgot to take note. I forgot to write that down in my notes. But thanks a lot, my friends.